Welcome to the Football Blitz football preview show. It is Steve Bennett from the Citizens Voice, John Mendola here, and tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, we'll give you the show after all the games. But always want to, welcome in one of the experts here in Northeast PA. He's been doing it an awful long time, much like myself. So, Steve, welcome into the show. And I know it's been a busy summer for you. You get some time off, but then you work on getting this out, and got it right here. Your Citizens Voice football preview. Damon Saxon there. So tell us a little bit about putting that all together and all the hard work that goes into it.
Hey, well, first off, thanks for having me, John. I know we've been, like you said, we've been doing this a long time, but you're right near the top when it comes to experts in high school football, man. I'll tell you that much. But deadlines keep getting earlier and earlier, as you know, with your magazine. And I think this year rather, I think I was done probably by July 28th. So that was just, stories, interviews, and everything all filed and sent. And, let the people that, put the magic together, let them work their magic. And then, there's the end results sitting in the newspaper today.
Yeah, it's so much stuff, and you get all those people together for pictures, and then you're writing stories. What did you find out about some of the teams here in the Wyoming Valley Conference this year? Take us through a few, whether you want to start with the bigger schools, the smaller schools. If you had an interesting story, I mean, obviously on that front cover, Damon Saxon is an interesting story. He's now the head coach at Nanticoke.
Yeah, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement, through the majority, if not all, the camps that I went to, most notably with Nanticoke. Damon, he was a fantastic, running back at King's College, and you look at the numbers, that he put up that earned him to be inducted into the, MAC Hall of Fame. And then once you hear his story and relive the story, and I mean, geez, you were doing this back when he was playing, and I was doing this back when he was playing, and I don't think you realized it at the time, but then when you revisit it, and he ran for all those yards, basically his senior year. He put together a senior year that most college running backs would love to call a career, and he was able to get into the Hall of Fame, and just how he got into the coaching business. It was strictly primarily basketball for a while. He got a shot at Wyoming Seminary. Once he got a shot at Wyoming Seminary, he decided he really, really enjoyed it. I know he went over with Coach Labatz at Myers for a little bit. Then he was at Wilkes-Barre area, and now he finally got his chance at Nanticoke area. And he's very enthusiastic, and I think the kids are really feeding off his enthusiasm. A lot of energy, and obviously, if you've been following Nanticoke football for the last 17, 18 years, I don't think you're going to see a lot of wing T this year. I think you're going to see a lot of different aspects of the offensive side of the ball that he was able to put together during not only his playing days, but his coaching career and things that he's learned. And so it'll just be interesting to see how Nanticoke area transforms this year.
We'll go down to Berwick. CJ Curry seems to be enthusiastic about his team. Everybody talking about the running back he's got Wilkerson, that, hey, he's a real deal. He's a stud. Now, he's, I think, about 205 from what I've read, and he looks a little thicker, but somebody said, well, he might be lining up at wide receiver, not just running back. So, obviously they got a couple of guys up front that look like they're hitting the weight room there at Berwick this year, but they're hoping this could be kind of a turnaround year for them. But that week one test against Lake Lehman, that could be a 50-50 game.
Oh, sure. And with Berwick, I think that four of the five starters up front are back from last year, and it was just something that seemed to click with them midway through the season when they put Wilkerson, took him out of the wide receiver position, put him in the backfield, and it just seemed right at that moment the offensive line started to gel and come together, and they went on a pretty nice run there, and then it turned into one of those things where You go to Western Wayne on the road in the first round of the playoffs, and it's nothing going into the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden Western Wayne punches one in, and it's 7-0, and Berwick had some opportunities there to score late in the game, but they just weren't able to capitalize. But you go walking out of there, Western Wayne, with a 7-0 loss in the playoffs, and you're taking that into the postseason. Obviously you want to take a win into the postseason, but 7-0 loss on the road in the playoffs with 4 out of your 5 offensive linemen coming back. Now you have the guy that set the single game rushing record in Wilkerson coming back, and I think a lot of people forget. Gavin Galusha, he was a kid that battled injuries last year, and he was averaging about 5 or 6 yards a carry before he got hurt. And they're really high on a freshman, Brady Cleaver. They were giving him the opportunity to win the job as starting quarterback over the summer and going into a training camp. So it's going to be really interesting to see, who Coach Curry, puts under center there on opening night out there against Coach Gilski.
We're with Steve Bennett from the Citizens Voices. Football preview is out today. Grab a copy while you still can. And Steve's rattling all this stuff off. He's not reading from a script, as you can tell. He knows high school football when you covered for a few decades, that's for sure. We go to Crestwood. Everybody talking about Jaden Shedlock coming back. Obviously, that's a huge punch in the arm for Coach Angeli. They hope to build on that. But there's going to be some holes to fill there. And, they'll do their best. And they'll be tested. Wyoming area and Crestwood tomorrow should be an interesting matchup.
Oh, yeah, you look at the last 2 meetings between those 2 teams, both games were decided by 7 points. And, obviously you mentioned Jaden Shedlock. He's the one that makes that offensive go. I mean, the last 2 years he suffered season-ending injuries. I think his sophomore year he got 7 games. Last year he got 3. And it's crazy that obviously both years that he was on pace for 1,000 yards rushing both years. But that – as much as you don't want to lose a kid like Jaden Shedlock, that gave Jack Rogers the opportunity to take some meaningful snaps at quarterback. And, they're completely different offense, when Rogers is back there and Shedlock's back there. And I know Coach Ark would, prefer to have, the senior that's been there, as a freshman, they, led the team to, the state semifinals when they lost to Bishop McDevitt. Obviously you want a kid like Shedlock back there, but, he go, multiple ways, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them involved a little bit more this year. But I think the biggest question mark for Crestwood has been for a while has been the offensive line. I know Coach Ark got hit hard on special teams. I'm not special teams on the offensive line, so he's got to mix and match and put the offensive line together.
Steve Bennett here from the Citizens Voice on the Friday Night Football Blitz. Well, hey, it's the preview. It is the Football Blitz here on a Thursday edition. Lake Lehman, Coach Gilski, are they going to just run the football this year out there at the back mountain?
Oh, that's obviously, Coach Gilski, that's what he wants to do. He gets nervous when he sees the ball in the air. And I think this year he's got the type of team that can do it. His offensive line's back. James Morales is back. He's got Chris Getter back. You got to go. You got to look at the offense now that he has. It's kind of similar when they had that big backup to Jones. Back when they were winning district titles, and he gets a big guy. Time to the ball. He's running the ball. They're upside, picking up first down. The other team's offense on the sidelines. And that's how Coach Gilski wants to play football. And the more he can do that, the better off he's going to be. So I can kind of see him go back. For him, just with that offense, everybody else is kind of old school.
We're having some audio issues here, Steve, so we're going to try to take a peek at that real quick. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We've got Rich Mendola coming. We got Jim Roth. We got Coach Awanitz, Mark Percy a little bit later from Shamokin. So take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Football Blitz preseason show. The Football Blitz is brought to you by Battaglia Sporting Goods, your hometown sporting goods store since 1975. Contact us for your team sports needs, including all kinds of sports equipment, as well as screen printing and embroidery. We carry most major brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Physical Therapy Associates of Northeastern Pennsylvania, your go-to top-notch care with 3 convenient locations in Old Forge, Hamlin, and Archbald. These pros deliver skilled one-on-one sessions to help you get back in the game faster. Ready to bounce back strong? Give Physical Therapy Associates a call, 570-209-9800. Okay, we're coming back here with Steve Bennett. Steve, seeing if we get that audio fix there. I don't know why it just crackled up a little bit. We'll give it a shot again. Hanover area this year. Talk about the Richardson. You got the coach. You got the triplets. I mean, they ran into a tough night tonight. We're supposed to have a bonfire and a water main break, but they're supposed to open up tomorrow against Marion.
Here, because of what happened with the stadium and a lot of renovations, new big video scoreboard. You mentioned the Richardson triplets. Then, again, another team that's going to rely, on the offensive line. And I know with, Deacon Eisenbach, they got a pretty good receiver there. Nice little target for, throwing football to. A lot of positive things coming out of camp with Matt Curry. I think he's going to be playing center this year, and they're really excited about the physicality, the leadership that he's shown. So, if the offensive line can rally around an experienced kid like him, hopefully, that'll help get Coach Richardson going in the right direction early on in the season.
The Football Blitz is brought to you by Alberigi Insurance. Alberigi Insurance Agency proudly services all your insurance needs for over 60 years. Located at 301 Church Street in Jessup. Call us today for a no-obligation quote for home, auto, recreational vehicles, boats, and business insurance. The Alberigi Insurance Agency, 570-489-6348. Tim Wagner's Sports Corner, your spot for all your MLB, NFL, and NCAA clothing and accessory needs. Come see what Tim carries for every Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees and Giants, Philadelphia Phillies, Eagles, Notre Dame, and Syracuse fan, to name a few. Tim Wagner's also specializes in all your screen printing and embroidery needs. If you're on Sanderson Street in Scranton, you'll need to stop and shop at Tim Wagner's Sports Corner. Century Dental Associates. Century Dental is a state-of-the-art dental office with multiple locations here in northeastern Pennsylvania. We use the latest approaches that are less invasive than ever before. We bring compassion to each individual to help take care of your dental needs in a way that is the best for you. Please call one of our offices or visit our website at centurydentalsmiles.com. We're back here on the Friday Night Football Blitz. On a Thursday edition is the preview show, and I appreciate Steve Bennett joining us here to start the show. Unfortunately, we had some audio issues there. I'm not sure what happened with Steve, but we're going to bring in Rich Mendola, the head football coach at Dallas. Coach, welcome into the show, and you got a big one tomorrow against Jersey Shore. How's the preseason going?
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right.
You hear me all right, or do I sound like Steve? That wasn't so good.
That wasn't so good. He started strong, and then I don't know what happened, but
Hey, you got Hawanitz's on here after?
I got him coming up later, yeah.
So remind him the discussion we had last year on this very date when I asked him, how long you going to stay out?
I will definitely remind him.
Yeah. And I told him, I congratulated him when he got it, which was great. He belongs back on the sideline. And I said, well, there he goes. I got to add 2 more chapters to the Blitz book because you're back in the mix.
That's good stuff. Well, I was going to ask Steve Bennett at the end about Dallas because it would be a perfect segue for you about, hey, what do you know about Dallas? And, tell us a little bit about him. So talk about, I know the offseason went extremely well for you guys. You feel like you're stronger than you've been. And you've had some really great teams and some strong kids, but the kids have bought into that weight room program. How's that going to play out now on the field for you guys? And obviously you'll know tomorrow night when you load up and hit the bus. And then when you get there and play some football against a quality program.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we told them after that third test that we do right before camp. I would hope that most people do test before camp. I think some people get skittish with that, but that's our third big test of the year. It's a complete combine, and it's right before camp. And it helps them stay focused and how important the weight room is, all year long. And they do a great job of that. But we set a new benchmark with, that measurement that we talk about with the big skill and skill kids in the club. And, they raised the bar there by quite a bit with this last test. They actually did it in the spring and then followed up even further in the fall. So that allows us to physically, line up. Okay. And at some point, size wins, right? We know that. So with the strength, you have to be in great shape. You got to execute. Are we going to play together? Are we going to stay healthy? How do we get off the bus after a 2-hour ride to go play a yearly state qualifier? All those things we're going to find out, by about 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Jersey Shore, what do you know about them this year? I mean, are they very, very comparable to the team they had last year?
Yeah, the scrimmages you can only see so much, but they're going to go 1,000 miles an hour. You can't really tell that on the film, but that they're doing it, and it's a great challenge. They're extremely well coached. He does a tremendous job of providing problems schematically with his defense against your offense. And, the great challenge is that's in week 1. But it forces you, when Jersey Shore goes up on the countdown clock, the entire program locks in. And, schematically, in your protections, you better have them lined up right. And you got to know what you're doing because he's going to challenge you. And, so hopefully, we did a good job in preparing on that part. And, we'll see when we go. But they're going to go fast. They're physical. Number 5 is a 2-time All-State kid for a reason. What a player. He's all over the field. You look at some of those stats sometimes and you go, can he really make all those tackles? And he does. He's that kind of guy, and he carries the ball really well. He's just a really great high school football player. So, on the road, in week 1, and we know what kind of challenges we had in front of us. But, I said to you at the media day, up until that point, I told our kids just the night before that, we've got a chance for the sophomore, junior, and senior class to come together. And, we always say, usually senior laden. Sometimes you get lucky. In 23, we had juniors and seniors that combined into one. And now the sophomore group has forced themselves into the mix. And we knew they were very talented, but, talent and getting it done are two different things. And they forced themselves in there, and the 3 classes they're really feeding off of each other right now. So I'm anxious and excited to see, how they play together tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's the high school football season is here. So you got a long road trip. You'll go to Jersey Shore. You guys are going to play some football. As far as, being healthy, learning something from your scrimmage, talk a little bit about gearing up for tomorrow. How's this last 2 weeks been for you guys there at Dallas area?
We came out of the scrimmage healthy. I hope we can play Dunmore every year. It's just become a great tradition for us. So much respect for that program and, what Coach Hens has built there. And, you pull in there on the bus and you see that statue. And if that doesn't shake you a little bit and how lucky we were to have him for as long as we did and, to experience coaching with him and, what he's done there. And that's going to go on forever. And Coach McHale and his staff have done a great job of continuing that. So I hope we can continue to play them. They're first-class organization. They do things the right way. And when it's over, you find out and know if you can, tackle and, if you can run the ball and if you could stop the run. So we came out healthy. I would have liked to hear a little bit more plastic, to be honest. And I said that to our kids. I'm not sure if it was, we used to be able to have shoulder pads all summer, and now it's, not till HEDAC and, getting up to speed and blah, 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 and all that. So anyway, we got into our TOTA period last night, and they got it going. So, that's our turnover takeaway period. It's a 20-minute, circuit on block destruction, tackling, and they went about their business the right way. So, we'll see how that pans out. But, we came out healthy, played a lot of guys that we think we can rotate in. And, hopefully if we could stay healthy, we're going to have more playable depth that we could set rotations now. And we really haven't been able to do that in Dallas. This is year 11. And, and that can all end in 2 quarters. But right now, tonight, we're going to be able to roll guys and rotate people in on both sides of the football.
You lose a quarterback that was kind of with you for a while. You got to replace a quarterback. You love to run the football, let's face it. But, it's a nice luxury when you need to throw the football you can, especially in the 4A, football. So talk a little bit about guys battling for that position and, trying to be comfortable on your end on opening night. It's new for somebody.
Yeah, we said that, and the 3 of them did a great job. I pulled them in afterwards when we were done tonight and just said, I don't know if the 3 of you could have managed this any better. And when we started this discussion back in the spring, early summer, I said, this clubhouse is watching closely how the 4 of us handle this. And it's going to have an impact on the building, and it's going to have an impact on the season. And I just, said to them, you couldn't have handled it any better. And they fed off of each other. They made each other better. And, we've got to see now, listen, you got to be able to run the football and you got to be able to stop the run, right? That's not going to change. But you have to have balance. And we always have to. We got speed on the perimeter now. You got to be able to get the ball on the perimeter in those kids' hands, let them make plays, and find that balance. And it's going to be a work in progress, John. There's no doubt about it. And we're going to learn an awful lot. The scrimmage, still controlled environment. Under the lights is a whole different thing when we're not standing next to them. And, they're 3 great young men. And, we're looking forward to see how it all plays out.
As far as talking to other coaches, whether it's in the Wyoming Valley Conference or the Lackawanna League, what are your expectations this year with sizing up the competition in 4A? Everybody talking about North Pocono, but there's a few other teams in that mix that'll give everybody a run for their money, I'm sure, other than, North Pocono and people talking about your team. But you'll have to go on the road to take on them. And that'll be in the weeks to come. Obviously, we're not looking ahead, but there'll be some good football.
Yeah, that's a long way off, and we know that they've got that's a great program, and that's down the line. They're going to have a great year, and we obviously got to deal with tomorrow. But when you ask a question about 4A football, in my opinion, week to week, in this district and across the state, from top to bottom, I really think it's the most competitive, every single week. And then if you're a 4 that, is fortunate to have some success, now you're playing 5s and 6s added to the 4s, which is a tremendous challenge. What helps you if you could stay healthy. So we're all in the same boat. Where are we in week 8? And we can't be in the mix in week 8 if we don't take care of, every week leading up to that. But I'd be hard pressed for somebody to change my mind that 4A is not the most competitive. You have some tremendous programs at every level, obviously, but from top to bottom, especially in our 2 conferences, you look when we cross over, the Lackawanna Conference is tremendous. That football up there is outstanding. And so when you cross over, you're playing great programs with great tradition. So you got to go every week, and you see it on Sundays with the best in the world. Somebody overlooks somebody. It doesn't matter where they're at, record wise and all that. You overlook them and you go home on the bus, with a loss. So you can't do that. You got to have yourself on the rails, all week long, and so we're proud to be in 4A. We hope that we represent this level well. And represent Dallas well, but it's exciting, and it's great high school football.
Well, you got a lot of energy because it's going to be a long night tomorrow. You'll be in bed by 8:30 and up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. So, Coach, keep that energy going tomorrow night. Good luck at Jersey Shore.
Appreciate it, John. Good luck to everybody tomorrow night. Stay healthy.
All right, all the best. Rich Mendola here on the Football Blitz. We'll be right back.
The Football Blitz is brought to you by the Maddock Agency. Since 1972, the Maddock Agency has been serving northeastern Pennsylvania for home, auto, and life. The Maddock Agency prides itself on being an independently owned agency. When you need help, you could talk with a staff member who lives and works right here in Northeast PA. The Maddock Agency has stayed true to its local, loyal roots. That's what our company was founded on more than 50 years ago. Call Dave Maddock and his team today. 570-586-3790. Use Savage Chiropractic. Takes pride in always doing a full evaluation on all patients, including x-rays, to evaluate patients to keep them safe and to determine the best care for their specific needs. Then they use modern techniques to get patients better, faster, and keep them feeling great with maintenance care options after they're pain-free. Along with chiropractic care, they are one of the only offices here in Northeast PA that offers both Class 4 cold laser to speed up the healing process and massage therapy and bodywork to aid in muscle repair and rehabilitation. And Northeast Outdoor Services, a locally run and operated company who offers a wide range of services but specializes in all forms of hardscape, concrete work, along with fiberglass pools and spas. Check us out on Facebook or visit our website at northeastoutdoorservices.com. Northeast Outdoor Services.
Welcome back to the Football Blitz, the preseason version. And Dave Pewarczyk joins us right now, the Lakeland area football coach. And Dave, welcome into the show. Appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs this year. 1 second, Dave. Sorry, there you go. We're good now. I had your audio button down. There you go.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So what are the Chiefs going to be here in 2025? What kind of squad do you have coming back?
We're still kind of young. We have a really nice senior group. David Nanowitz coming back as a quarterback. He'll be a 3-year starter. Anytime you can bring back a 3-year starter at quarterback, that's a huge help in high school football. And we got some other guys that go along with him. Weston Loomis. Weston is going to be a 3-year starter on the offensive line. Cole Hastings, another 3-year starter on the offensive line. Cody Miller, a 3-year starter at tight end. So those senior pieces are definitely going to be critical to our team this year. And, we're really excited for the season.
9 starters back on offense, 9 starters back on defense. You got to face a Carbondale team on the road, and Jeff Arthur's kind of, done a nice job with that program. What are you expecting from the Chargers?
For lack of better terms, I think we're expecting a fist fight. It's a little bit of a rivalry between Carbondale and Lakeland. And, each team obviously wants to win with, being so close to each other. And, Coach Arthur wasn't able to partake in the game last year. And he gets the chance to come back this year into the game. And I think that adds a little bit of fuel there for Carbondale. But again, they have some really good athletes. They're really big up front. Their quarterback is really athletic, and they have a few running backs that have some speed.
Well, the one thing looking at their practice field is they had a lot of high grass, so they're used to running on that high grass. Maybe on the regular field will be a little quicker for those guys. But the one thing is trying to get those kids to buy in there at Carbondale, much like you're trying to get your kids to buy in at Lakeland. So talk a little bit about just knowing that, like, hey, they kind of have a very blue-collar approach there at Carbondale. As you said, it's going to be physical. Talk about trying to get guys up front that, know that, hey, it's going to be a battle.
Well, we've been preaching to our guys all week, just saying that obviously in high school football, the game is won up front. So, preaching to our O-line, our D-line, letting them know that they have to give us, their best effort and do everything that they're coached to do. And the battle up front, again, is the most important thing that we could, really go over in this game. Like I said, Carbondale is big. They have a couple guys on that line that are 280 plus. They're going to be a handful.
Let's talk a little bit about trying to overcome adversity. You had a lot of injuries last year. Talk about, trying to just look ahead and say, guys, if we're healthy, we hope we could play week in and week out.
Well, and that was a good thing and a bad thing last year. We ended the season playing Riverside in the playoff game. We had 8 starters not be able to play in the game due to injuries. all those kids have returned, which is great. So, we're excited to see, how we could do with a healthy team. But we've implemented some things this year as far as our program to hopefully prevent. I mean, obviously, you can't prevent all the injuries in football. It's a very physical game. But we've done some speed and agility, dynamic stuff, and we've also added some injury prevention, stretching, team yoga, believe it or not. And any of those things that you could take into account for recovery, we pretty much have done it.
Let's talk about your coaching staff and, trying to get these kids, being in the halls and trying to get kids on the squad. And, there's obviously programs out there still with 20s and 30s. You try to see if you could get to 30s and 40s. And of course, there's other sports. There's soccer and different things going on. So talk a little bit about, trying to keep kids interested in football. Everybody has that battle.
Yeah, it seems to be that, especially in 2A, single A and 2A, it seems to be that the roster sizes are pretty much all the same. We're all hovering around 35 to 40, 40 if you're lucky. I'm fortunate enough that I work at Lakeland, so I'm able to go, like you said, around the halls and scour the halls, go into study halls, look for kids. Also very fortunate that I have several other coaches of other sports. We have Trevor Tellep, who coaches basketball at Lakeland. We have Larry Pacini, who helps out anywhere he can. He's the baseball coach at Lakeland. So, fortunate with that happening that, us being all close, we can kind of share athletes. That's really unique at Lakeland. We do a very good job of sharing multiple athletes. We have Chase Rosenkrantz, he's a 4 athlete kid. He does golf, football, basketball, and then turns around and does track and field.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, you get a kid like that, you want to make sure he's healthy and hope he has a great year at Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, absolutely. And all we have to do, it goes with the communication with the families, with the kids, and obviously with the coaches, and try not to, overstep our bounds in the off season. We don't do a lot of football stuff during basketball, or we won't do a lot of football stuff during track and field. We'll let those guys concentrate on those sports, and hopefully they have a good season. But once the end of track rolls around, we hit football, and we go from pretty much the beginning of June all the way through the end of football season. But again, the kids do a great job of buying in and doing everything that we ask. Especially with the weight room, requiring them to be in the weight room 3 days a week, whether you're playing a sport or not. And obviously we work within that program and what they're doing to make sure they're not doing too much, so they can still excel at the sports that they're playing.
Coin flipper tomorrow at Carbondale. It is Lakeland and Carbondale. And David Pewarczyk, we thank you for your time, and all the best tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with Jim Roth from Southern Columbia here on the Football Blitz preseason show.
All right, I'm with Coach Lon Hazlett with us here. And Coach, let's tell us a little bit. I see this stuff all the time. Coach's Health and Fitness. What do you actually do?
Well, we're trying to help people, John. I was going to retire as a teacher and a coach about 20 months ago, and my wife said to me, you've been too busy your whole life. If you're not involved in something and staying busy, you're going to lose your mind. And we used to own 3 gyms and fitness centers out in Western PA, and I have helped people with health and fitness programs my entire life. And so we launched Coach's Health and Fitness in November of 2023. The first couple months we were in business, we had a customer or two, and I thought, what am I doing? And since then, we've just had tremendous success, which has led to a great referral, and we've just been able to help so many people in so many regards. It's kind of taken on 3 facets. We've got adults losing weight. We have 3 people on our program that have lost over 100 pounds. We have 9 people that have lost over 80 pounds, and we're over 40 people have lost over 50 pounds in the last close to 20 months. The second avenue we've taken on, we're working with teens and high school athletes, the majority of them which are gaining weight. And then of course we do speed and personal training kind of on the side of those 2 things. So it's taken on a life of its own, but we've really seen great results, and people are enjoying what they're doing with us.
Coach Lon Hazlett with Coach's Health and Fitness.
We're back here on the Football Blitz, the preseason show, and so fortunate to welcome in legendary coach Jim Roth. Jim, great to see you at Southern Columbia. Been there, and what are we expecting out of those Tigers this season?
Well, John, thank you for having me on. Haven't talked to you in a while. Last year we had what we would call not one of our typical seasons. We lost a few games and didn't win a state championship, so that was a negative for us. It's when I think back on it, sometimes I have to, almost pinch myself to realize the kind of success we've had. But a lot of people have really contributed to that, and we've had a great staff that's been together for a long time, and we've had kids that have bought into it and they just keep working. And the program, I think, helps their confidence, and they expect to win when they go out there. So we ended this role last year at the hands of Troy, and they're going to be around again this year. I think they have enough coming back. So we're in much better shape coming into the season in regards to what it looks like at this point for us. We were very young last year, but we've had some years where we were very young and still succeeded at a high level. That didn't happen last year. Things didn't come together the way we had hoped they would. But we have a lot of people back in almost all areas, 9 starters back on offense, 7 back on defense. We have probably one of our better lines on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, that we've had in a number of years. So that's where it all starts. And when you can, if you can get the upper hand on that line of scrimmage, everything else falls into place. So a lot of skilled players back also, but I really feel good about our guys up front right now.
Again, you had so much success, as you said, and you've been at it so long. How do you now, okay, we didn't do what we always seem to do. Did you question, again, with all the success you've had, all the state championships you won, did you question some things, or you think it was just some tough luck and just you're going to have a year every so often? Southern Columbia, everybody, the expectations are through the roof.
Yeah, no, we didn't question what we were doing too much. I mean, we're always, even though we have a program that's been in place a long time as far as what we do from a routine standpoint, whether it be off season, in season, we're always looking to tweak things and try to improve. So we've never been static, and I think that's helped us over the years, that we've adjusted and done some things in both the ways we run our system and also the way we handle our kids and what we do in the off season. But last year was one of those years where we were young. The guys that didn't have experience didn't respond and didn't develop as quickly as we had hoped they would. And then we just never got a real good team chemistry. Some of the close games we lost, and other years we would win those football games, but just was never a real good team chemistry, and it just never came together for us. So yeah, our standards are high, and we want to have a great year every year. So we certainly evaluated everything real hard after last season. The most important thing right now is I think the players handled it the right way. It was an outstanding off season as far as the way they approach things, as far as training, their attitude, and the way the preseason has gone so far. I think they're using our disappointment of last year in the right way. It's a motivator for them.
A bit more remote Troy than Southern Columbia. How did they get the job done? And, they're feeling it right now to possibly, make a big run, as you mentioned again.
Yeah, well, they've been building. They've gradually been building for a number of years, and they've got an attitude right now. Their numbers have gone up over the years, so they got kids out. Their numbers have improved. The people are buying into the program, and then I think Coach Smith has done a great job in terms of getting these guys to work in the off season and train in the off season, and that's so important. A lot of programs that they want to try to make that strive or that next step and go from an average team to a good team, or from a good team to winning a state title. They just don't aren't able to get their kids to work enough in the off season and commit enough in the off season. And we've always taken the approach for a long time that when it comes to the off season, and there are a lot of teams I know, even locally, that put a lot of time in on the field in the off season, in the spring and the summer. And we're not one of those teams that does that. We believe in training. So our big emphasis in the off season, we'll do some things on the field. We'll do our 7-on-7s. We'll go to a team camp, but we don't put the time in on the field like a lot of other schools. Our emphasis is on training. So our big thing is we want our guys in the weight room. We have a formal speed training program run by a group from Lehigh University. We've had them for 25 years in terms of speed training in the summer. So that's what our emphasis is. And it's an easy sell, really, because we talk to our players about the fact that, yeah, we want you to become better football players, but if you train properly in the off season, you do what we're asking you to do, you're going to be a better basketball player, a better wrestler, better baseball player, whatever you do, you're going to be a better athlete. So that's what we're asking them to do for a large part in the off season.
Jim Roth, the Southern Columbia football coach, with us here on the Football Blitz preview show as the season gets underway tomorrow. Coach, schematically, has things changed for you guys over the years, defensively, offensively? Are you guys still doing the same thing and thinking, listen, everybody might have scouted us and figured things out over time. Now you just got to stop us, or nobody has been able to stop you. So, obviously you're a student of the game. You always want to keep learning, like you said, but has there been a whole lot of wholesale changes in any form there at Southern Columbia over the years?
No, we run similar schemes that we've run for decades, really. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we've tweaked things over the years to try to improve in all areas, and offensive and defensive schemes, special teams, that's no exception. So even though people refer to us as a wing T team, well, we've run when it comes to running the football, which the wing T system is primarily a running system. Although I've known some really good wing T coaches in the past, especially at the college level, that ran the wing T and they threw the ball a lot. And that's one area where we've adjusted. We throw the ball more than we used to, and it all depends on our given talent in a certain year. But we throw the ball more than we did years ago. And we've changed some things up. We still run the wing T. We run wing T formations, but we run more zone. We run more power. We run more jet plays. So they're not what you would call traditional or textbook wing T, but they kind of fit in the system. So we varied things a little bit and expanded our offense, and we have a little more variety. And I think that's one of the ways that we've kind of compensated for the comment you made about teams have played you over the years. They know what you do. And are you just going to say, well, we're going to line up and run what we run and you have to stop us? We still kind of have that mentality, but we come at it with more variety. We can change things up. We can do more things. So even though they have a good idea what we're going to do, it's not as vanilla or simple as it was 10, 20 years ago. And defensively, it's probably the same. We just do a little bit more as far as adapting to the spread offenses, because passing game is so popular today and the spread offense is so popular that, 10, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't, especially that long ago, we didn't see near the passing that we do today in the formations and all the wide open stuff. So we've adjusted to that, but our basic front and our basic scheme is still the same. And we just try to be able to match up with these teams that are really running a lot of spread stuff and wide open stuff, and especially when it comes to the passing game.
You've always been a healthy guy. Talk a little bit about the passion for you. You still burning desire to keep this going, or you take it year by year?
I look at it year by year, but I don't see myself stepping down anytime real soon. I've always said that as long as I'm healthy and I think that I'm still on top of it, I don't want to be one of these guys that is out there as a figurehead and just on the sideline where everybody else is running the show and you're saying I'm still the head coach, and you're getting credit for wins and things like that when you're really not, overseeing and controlling the program. So as long as I can still be in charge and do what I need to do as a head coach, I'm going to be comfortable, staying on. I still really enjoy it, and kids have changed, but we've adapted to that, and some of the challenges are different than they were 20 or 30 years ago. But when it comes down to it, most kids are still good once you kind of teach them what's required and they learn what's required to have a successful football program, the qualities that are necessary. Most kids buy into it. So in that regard, it really hasn't changed a whole lot.
It's refreshing to hear that you still got that charge and love what you do with your program. Final question: what's the scouting report on Why I'm Missing? They'll be at your place this weekend, so tell us a little bit about what that looks like. And they've been a pretty good football team.
Yeah, we didn't go out and do the old pick up a cupcake for the opener to get your feet under you a scenario with Why I'm Missing, and it looks like we're probably going to continue into the next cycle, which starts next year. But they've been a state power in AAA and Quad A. They're currently a Quad A school for a long time. When you go and play there, the first thing that jumps out at you is you walk in their field house and you see the portraits of the players that played there that went to the NFL. So they've had a number of guys play in the NFL. So it's a storied program. But no, they're similar to us in a lot of regards. They're a wing T team. Their wing T version is a bit different than ours, but a lot of the concepts are the same. A lot of the formations are similar. So the average fan, if they go to the game tomorrow, they would think that both teams are running the exact same offense at times, because we are similar in a lot of ways. But they're a run first team, probably a little bit more run first than what we are right now. But as far as where they're at this particular time, they were a 10 win team last year. And they graduated a number of linemen, but they have almost all their skill players back. They have a really outstanding skill player. He plays wide receiver, running back. They move him around. He plays safety on defense and flies around and gets to the ball. His name's Justin Hardy. He's Division I talent, and he's a big concern going into the game. We have to try to do a good job against him. Watching their scrimmage against Cocalico, he had some plays that you just shook your head, that an average football player is not going to make. So he's a big concern, but they do have a good group of skill players returning. So we can't focus too much on him because they have other guys that can hurt you. This Eisenhower kid that's an inside linebacker, fullback, is a real player, and he can do damage. And they have some other skill guys that can run the football and get down the field on passes, even though they don't throw a lot. So we, as I said earlier, we feel good about our front right now, and they did have to replace a number of their linemen. So hopefully, unlike last year, we're going to match up better up front, and maybe we can control things better at the line of scrimmage, and that'll go a long way, because they still have an outstanding group of kids behind the line on both sides of the ball.
Well, Coach, root for the Tigers this year at Southern Columbia. We hope we could catch up with you at some point during the season. All the best. It's great to see you, and I'm always a big fan.
Well, thanks a lot, John. Thanks for having me on.
All right, have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, we'll be right back. George Joannitz from Honesdale will join us next.
Hey, sports fans, are you ready for game day? Look sharp with a fresh cut from Guy's Barbershop in Oliphant. We specialize in styles that score big. Whether you need a classic trim or a modern look, our skilled barbers have you covered. Join the winning team, Guy's Barbershop, where every haircut is a touchdown. Visit us today and show your team spirit at Guy's Barbershop in Oliphant.
All right, welcome back to the Football Blitz, and there's George Joannitz, our
Hi, John.
original host from last year, and now he's the head football coach. Of course, Mendola had to give you a shot tonight.
Oh, did he? I just got home, so I'm watching the Red Sox game a little bit. So what was the shot?
I said, I told him last year, it was to the day, that he's going to be back in coaching. He misses it too much. So
I came back just to get a shot to play him again in the playoffs. I got to get one or two more shots at him.
Well, looks like you got a fresh cut there. You're ready to go for school, and Tell us a little about this opportunity at Honesdale. We had talked to you in the off season, and how'd the summer go, and how's camp going at Honesdale?
Yeah, it's been great. It's just a great school. We talked about this months ago. I think my first year I took off was fine. I really didn't think I would coach again, to be honest with you. I think after I had left Valley View the first time, and then into the second year, you and I started talking about it a little bit, and I was kind of getting a little bit of the itch again. But Homestead is just a great opportunity. It's a great district. A great district academically. I think it's a nice, close-knit community, much like the Valley View community, and the people are behind the teachers, behind the coaches, behind the players, and the kids have been great. And it's just been a nice situation, really has. We had our first couple in-service days the last couple of days, and obviously it's different. I've been at Valley View for 21 years prior to this year, but it was nice. It was a nice I think an eye opener as to how other districts can kind of be run, and so far so good. So we'll see how tomorrow goes now at the football end of it.
We get older, and change is such a big deal, and could be a moment, a day. It could have been 2 hours ago. You're like, man, I miss the people at Valley View. It was hard to make that move. Talk a little bit about kind of, I don't want to say manning up, but like, okay, you got to think of all the factors, because there's tremendous amount of factors, and say, take that leap.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you get comfortable in your role. You make a lot of friends. I mean, I have guys. I talked to Brian Guida today. He's a guy I used to eat lunch with. He's an old Forge guy, but had lunch with him every day. And he sent me a message today, and he's like, I missed our lunch, and it's the little. Little things, I think, that you gain a lot of friendships. Jamie Adley's a good friend of mine, the golf coach, and Chris Reese is there, and a lot of the guys around my coaching staff are still at Valley View. So it's a little bittersweet when you go. And for me, I mean, the big one for me was my wife still teaches there. I've taught with her a long time, and my daughter Addison is those are probably the two toughest misses, I think, each day, when you can see her daughter walking in the hallway and, give her a little hug. And anytime I need anything, my wife was right around the corner. So those are probably the toughest parts of it. I told my wife it was like going to college again. You get homesick for the first couple of days, and then you get yourself up and moving again, and get the dust off, and you gotta go to work. So that's kind of the situation I'm in now.
Let's talk about this Honesdale football squad. You got 2 head coaches at one time, and now they're with you on your staff. Those are 2 big gets, Coach Rebar, Coach Sapkowski, and obviously you kept all your other coaches there at Honesdale, and they're good too. So talk a little bit about, kind of fitting it all together. You guys have to mesh.
Yeah, it's it's a work in progress, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just think it's we got a lot of guys that stay with the other staff that are excellent coaches. We had some guys come in that were, I think they're staff-wise, I think we'll have one of the better staffs probably in the state of Pennsylvania, when you probably tie everything together with a nice youth movement. We had Josh Labasso come and stay on staff, John Gillow, Coach Patriso, just guys that are, a little mix of, younger, haven't been offensive coordinators. Some played in college. And then, then we add in Jeremy Ebert's another guy that came. He played at Lyco. He's a, former player there, played at Lyco. Then we roll in, and I bring Rebar with me. Obviously, all state at Mid-Valley, Syracuse, his head coaching pedigree. And then same thing with Jason, player, great player at North Pocono, star at Pitt, district champ coach at North Pocono. And, it's just a great mix, I think, of old guard, new guard, and how you can blend those 2 groups together to, I think, at least, get up with the times where, you're getting some different opinions, some different ways of doing things, and both kind of groups have blended together pretty well over the last couple months.
Well, you're going to open up the football season tomorrow, and nothing like hitting the road. So talk a little bit about, your test at hey, we got to hit the road. We're going to find out a little bit about ourselves. And East Stroudsburg North, a 4A school, might be a little further out there than you think, right?
Yeah, it's we used to play that when I was in Valley View my first couple of years, or right near my first couple of years. But great school. I thought we had a decent scrimmage last week with Scranton, so I think we're kind of riding a little bit of a wave into that first game. But it's a good football team. Obviously it's a challenge being a 4A school, and they got a really good quarterback coming back, some good skill guys, and they have a new head coach, so you're not really sure what to expect. I don't think just a little bit of film from the scrimmage, but I have always said this, and you know me a long time, and we worry about ourselves. So we're worried about Holmesdale. We're gonna do what we have to do, and just hope everything we've done over the summer and all the time we put in the weight room and all the time on the field, and obviously we're a little more different system. We have a wing tee and my blitzing scheme on defense and some changes on special teams, but I thought the kids have picked it up well, and hopefully everything we've done over the last couple of months will kind of come to fruition on Friday night.
All right, Coach. Well, hey, we're now Hornet fans here and ready to go and see how it turns out. But always good to see you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you several times during the season. All right?
Good to see you. Thanks. I'm glad you're still doing the show. It's awesome.
All right, George Hawanitz, and we have Mark Persing from the Smoking Indians coming up next. We'll be right back here on the preseason Football Blitz.
The Football Blitz is brought to you by Battaglia Sporting Goods, your hometown sporting goods store since 1975. Contact us for your team sports needs, including all kinds of sports equipment, as well as screen printing and embroidery. We carry most major brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Physical Therapy Associates of Northeastern Pennsylvania, your go-to top-notch care with 3 convenient locations in Old Forge, Hamlin, and Archbald. These pros deliver skilled one-on-one sessions to help you get back in the game faster. Ready to bounce back strong? Give Physical Therapy Associates a call, 570-209-9800.
All right, we're back here on the Friday Football Blitz. It's, the day before. It's the preseason Football Blitz, and Mark Persing, the head football coach at Shamokin area, joining us. Mark, we caught up with you last year. You guys had a very good season. It's good to say, the Smoking Indians are going to be pretty good here in 2025. I know you got an event going on. You guys are doing some great stuff there in the community, but talk about your getting ready here for the start of the season and a big one against Pottsville tomorrow.
Oh, hey, thank you for having me. But, as you mentioned, the community, first and foremost, the community has welcomed me from day one, and we've been doing some amazing things in the community, and we've had some amazing support. So, as long as, the community continues to support us and the athletes are continuing to be bought in, we're hoping to keep this train rolling for the foreseeable future.
How many guys you got coming back both on the offense and defensive side that makes people saying the Indians are going to be formidable here?
Yeah, so we have 6 starters returning on offense and 7 on defense. But the issue is, we were in some games last year where we were able to get some young guys, some very valuable reps. So, although it's only 6 starters, we truly feel like we have 9 guys returning on a defense that was already pretty good, with the ability and with the possibility to be an even better defense than last year. Our team speed is phenomenal. We're big, we're fast, and we're aggressive.
If I remember correctly, you had a whole bunch of injuries in the playoff game, and kind of the season kind of ended. Talk about, guys that coming back, the offseason, how things went there for you guys.
Yeah, so, you did touch on some of the injuries that piled up that we were fortunate enough not to have to deal with during the regular season. But injuries are a part of the game, as every coach will tell you. We were blessed to have 11 and a half, maybe 12 weeks of injury-free football that it eventually just caught up to us. But make no mistake about it, Juniata was the better football team that night, and injuries were not the deciding factor in the game. But some guys, some known names that probably the state of Pennsylvania is either already familiar with or should be familiar with. It starts at the top with Logan Steele, fantastic athlete. He's going to be playing everywhere this year. He's being recruited as an athlete by some high-level schools. He was our quarterback, free safety, first team All-State on both sides of the ball. Zakim Clinton, first team All-State outside linebacker that also ran for 1,200, and I think he had 13 touchdowns. He's a man-child, 6'1", 230 pounds. Really, really dedicated himself to getting in shape this offseason. So instead of playing himself into shape this year, he's already in shape, for tomorrow night. And then our mountain in the middle, he's 6'2", 6'2.5", 400 pounds. Pound for pound, he's arguably our most athletic kid on the team, Isaac Glover. It starts with him up front. You need 2, maybe 3 guys to block him. And
400 pounds.
Oh yeah, and he holds it very well. The colleges that have come in are impressed with, how he looks at that size, and how he holds himself. So when I tell you he's the ace of the baseball team, he can throw a football 70 yards. He can do cartwheels. He can do a back flip off a diving board. It's something truly special to see. And he's just a big, likable kid. So he has a lot of good things coming to him.
We all need a freak on our team. I'd love to see. I'd love to have that kid on my team doing cartwheels. And wow, that is amazing. Talk about some of these younger guys. Obviously, what you have with your program, and guys stepping up this year. Do you have a 9th or a 10th grader that you think could, make an impact on this squad?
Yeah. So we are a beautiful mix of seniors and sophomores currently. But make no mistake about it, we do have a freshman that we're very high on. From the offensive line side, we think he's going to be a stud. A potential Blake Hockenbrock type player for us that was 2-year first team All-State. His name's Tyrone Garrison. I think a kid by the name of Braden Kavanaugh is going to potentially explode on both sides of the ball. His dad was a former player in the early 2000s for Coach Carm. 6'2", 190 pounds, very athletic kid, tough nose, true Shamokin type kid. So they're 2 young names that we're really excited for. Colin Steinhardt has made the transition from soccer to kicker last year as a sophomore, but he's playing wide receiver and DB for us this year, and he's 6'4", 200 pounds. So he's just another kid that just looks different for a high school athlete, and he's only a junior. So, there's some names. Jace Gink, ran for 1,200 yards, 9 yards a carry, probably 12 touchdowns last year. So, we have speed. We have speed out the wazoo, and one person I didn't mention yet was Ryan Bickert. Ryan Bickert is going to be Chase Pencil's replacement in many ways. Chase was a 10-9, 11 flat 100 guy. Ryan Bickert's a 10-7, 10-8 100 guy. So, in theory, we're faster at the position. Logan Steele ran a 10-8, took second in the district. Zakem won the district in the shot put. So, we have athletes, that are going to get to be unleashed tomorrow.
Pottsville, what's the scouting report on the Crimson Tide and Coach Brennan?
For as much as they're the same exact team as they were last year, they're executing, it seems now at a much higher clip, which could potentially cause us some issues. They're very fundamentally sound from the scrimmage that we saw. They gave it to Mount Carmel at times, and Mount Carmel gave it back to them. But, we feel like in the down and distance portion of the scrimmage, Pottsville looks like a very, very good football team, and they have our attention.
It's going to be an interesting year as far as the community. I bet you guys are bleeding the purple and the white right now. Talk a little bit about, you feel like the buzz is strong right now?
Oh, you can feel it in the community. Doesn't matter if I'm going in the Turkey Hill or pumping gas or to the local hoagie store. Everybody always wants to talk about it, and I get it's exhausting at times. That's all I have to talk about.
Sure.
But these kids they're an impressive group of kids, and they deserve all the spotlight they have coming to them.
Well, it's awesome to hear. We hope to talk to you several times during the season, Mark. Look forward to hearing about those smoking Indians tomorrow night. See how you guys make out against the Crimson Tide of Pottsville.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right, appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too.
The Football Blitz is brought to you by Battaglia Sporting Goods, your hometown sporting goods store since 1975. Contact us for your team sports needs, including all kinds of sports equipment, as well as screen printing and embroidery. We carry most major brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Physical Therapy Associates of Northeastern Pennsylvania, your go-to top-notch care with 3 convenient locations in Old Forge, Hamlin, and Archbald. These pros deliver skilled one-on-one sessions to help you get back in the game faster. Ready to bounce back strong? Give Physical Therapy Associates a call, 570-209-9800.
Welcome back to the, well, again, what do you want to call it? The Friday night? No, it's the preseason football blitz. It's great to catch up. Steve Bennett had some audio issues, unfortunately. But again, you want to pick up a copy of the Citizen's Voice. Steve did a great job with that. I'd like to thank, obviously, Rich Mendola from Dallas, and Jim Roth, and Dave Pewarczyk, and George Iwanitz, and Mark Persing joining us tonight here. You can pick up a copy of our football preview magazine. It is out and available. McCarthy Tire, get our Carol and Janelle, Manuka Subaru, it's all we do. Comets Law and Wilkes-Barre. I can go up and down the list. If you're on social media and you have a question about where it's at, we'll do our best to kind of answer as far as the areas here in Northeastern Pennsylvania on where you can pick up a copy. So tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, we're going to be here. Guess who we have tomorrow night? We got some great college coaches. We got Frank Sheptock. He'll join us tomorrow night from Bloomsburg University. Jimmy Terwilliger from East Stroudsburg University. Got some high school coaches kind of lined up depending on how the games go tomorrow night. So again, it is the Friday Night Football Blitz tomorrow. Tonight gave you a little preseason taste, a little one day early football blitz, and check out the teams in Northeastern Pennsylvania. As far as our football rankings, you can check it out in our magazine. I love the cover, the design, independent graphics did a tremendous job of that. And, I think it'll be an interesting year, that's for sure, and see how our area teams. But appreciate you joining us. Hope you have a good night, and that'll do it here on the